The Hearst Center for the Arts presents 2 new exhibitions. The exhibitions feature artwork by 2 well-known Cedar Falls creatives, illustrator Gary Kelly and writer Nancy Price. Hard Won Not Done original illustrations by Gary Kelly, and No One Knows original book illustrations by Nancy Price. The illustration of these exhibits are completed by an art curator, and the Hearst Center for the Arts has a curator who knows how to creatively use the space of the Hearst and properly display the exhibits of Gary Kelly and Nancy Price.
Our curator is Emily Drennan. She's also our registrar here at the Hearst Center, so she's not only in charge of coordinating all the exhibits that everyone gets to see, but she takes care of all the work that's in our permanent collection, and she does a fantastic job.
When it's time for one show to go down and another show to go up, that's when this gallery gets full of stuff because we're taking things down carefully. I'm taking things down carefully, wrapping things, preparing them either for storage or to go back to a lender or an artist. And then we have the new things that are brought in, usually have to be unwrapped, need to be checked in. You know, we have a lot of processes in place to make sure that everything stays safe. We have tabs on everything. And then I have to just start thinking about what kind of story we want to tell in this space, thinking about what's going on in the world, what events we have going on at the Hearst Center so that we can kind of marry things to what we're already doing to have the most impact. And that's a super fun part of what I get to do, is try to tell a story and have it make sense within the context of everything else. As an entry for the exhibitions here, we always have the title of the exhibition and the dates, and sometimes some other information for the public to read. We have the logo reproduced in laser cut vinyl, and because this has several colors, it came in a couple of different pieces, and so I get to do all the math and all of the fitting in spatial relations to try to recreate a logo of several pieces up on the wall in stickers, basically, and just a lot of nudging and leveling. And this show, this exhibition came with this beautifully designed logo for the Hard Won Not Done calendar, and so we were able to recreate that on the wall, and it looks really great. One of Gary Kelly's favorite things about working on projects like this is all the research he gets to do. It's a really fun part of any project for him. And so I have his file of all of his sketches on tracing paper, all of his source photos for all of these amazing people. So in a little case in one part of the gallery, I'm going to share with the public some of his sketches so you can kind of see behind the scenes of his process of getting to these final illustrations. We have quite a few works by Nancy Price in the permanent collection. And I thought this was a great opportunity to show this series, the drawings that she did, they're pen and ink drawings that she did for her book, No One Knows. I just really love that she wanted to do her own illustrations in the book. And they're so dramatic and they're so heartfelt. I wanted to recreate that sense of drama in the gallery, so I had the lights kind of low. I chose a really deep, dark color so that we could recreate the foil that's underneath the dust jacket on the actual hardcover book. There's some metallic foil letters and imagery on the book that I recreated on the wall, and I love doing that. I hope Nancy likes it.
The exhibit Hard Won Not Done features 12 original pastel illustrations by Gary Kelly, who was commissioned in 2019 by the League of Women Voters of Iowa to create the portrait series celebrating a century of Iowa women. Suffragists, trailblazers, politicians, and activists are pictured.
This is a really kind of special local project for us. Of course, it was a statewide project celebrating the 19th Amendment that was kind of coordinated by the League of Women Voters of Iowa, but our local chapter worked with one of our local artists, Gary Kelly, to coordinate this calendar that celebrates women from across Iowa that were either residents of Iowa or natives of Iowa that did something in their lives that really made a difference. For example, Edna Griffin was a black woman who in 1948 stood up for her rights at Katz Drug Store in Des Moines. She was denied service by the store owner when she went in to get a soda pop, and she's coordinated sit-ins and boycotts of Kat's drugstore, and eventually it went through the court system and she won her case, and it changed the law for African Americans to be served in restaurants and bars in Iowa. So a really major turning point in our local history.
The Hard Won Not Done exhibition also has an audio-visual element.
So we have the original illustrations from the Hard Won Not Done project by Gary Kelly, and we're showing that in tandem with the PBS documentary, The Vote, which is about the struggle to get the right to vote for women. So it connects back to that 19th Amendment theme.
Gary was able to collaborate with a special individual for this exhibition.
So Gary's artwork, as you come through the gallery, you'll also be able to read short biographies of the women who are being celebrated through the portraits. And those biographies were written by Sydney Kelly, who happens to be Gary Kelly's daughter, but she is also an Emmy award-winning writer. She spent over 15 years working in Hollywood and working on soap opera writing. So we're super excited to have that element in addition to the illustrations.
This exhibit was supposed to be earlier in the year, but because of COVID-19, the Hearst had to rearrange their exhibition schedule.
Because of the pandemic, we've had to be pretty nimble about our exhibition schedule. We did have to close to the public for a little while, so we had to move some of our exhibitions around in order to give the public time to see the shows that our curator has worked so hard on putting together for us. So this show actually got bumped to a little bit later in the year, but it worked out perfectly because of the voting season. So when people come in to see the work, whether it's on voting day or not, they'll see portraits of women from across the state who are educators, they're mothers, they're athletes, they're artists. They've come from all different backgrounds. But they did something really small that made a huge change in the grand scheme of things for us. And that's really what voting's all about. You know, you have one vote and it matters.